Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Daily Decolonizing. And I specifically want to talk about how decolonizing and both like shadow work for like self-healing are really big grieving processes. I'm sure if you've lost someone in your life, you know about like the 5 stages of grief. And I just Googled them. Damn, the pancake maker is going crazy. And so I want to talk about them. So the 5 stages of grief, this was coined by a woman who wrote a book on death and dying in 1969. So it's relatively new-ish, it's not like forever ago. Interviews with terminally ill patients. So that's what I find interesting about this, is that she interviewed people who were dying, not people who were left behind. And I think that this is often talked about to people who are left behind from folks who have died. Like, oh, you're going through these stages of grief. So this is kind of interesting, because I think at some point society switched it, because we often talk about these 5 stages of grief. But I feel like this is for people who are dying. Anyway, I want to talk about it at the way that we've been talking about it at society, though. So the 5 stages are denial, anger, bargaining, and I had to look that up because I thought it was weird, depression, and acceptance. And the bargaining one is about, like, kind of the process of doing shadow work, like acknowledging where you fucked up in life. And again, since she interviewed people who were terminally ill, that's their stage of, like, regret, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't have done this and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting, though, because up until 5 minutes ago, I thought that these were the 5 stages of grief for people who were left behind. Like, when you lose someone, these are the stages you go through. But I don't think that's the case, because she interviewed people who were leaving. Anyway, I do think that these stages of grief are very present in decolonizing and shadow work, and that's why I want to talk about them, because I feel like we need more people to be doing that work. And I want to share super real with you what it looks like, what it can feel like. And I think it can really feel like all of these stages of grief, because you are in a grieving process. You're in a grieving process for the indoctrination / education that you learned your whole life. You're in a grieving process of who you were with those principles and that knowledge, right? And within all of those processes of decolonizing and grieving your old self, all of the people who led you that way, right? Friends and family, like when you get to a point of growth that a lot of other people aren't at, or, not going to be at, they refuse to do that. That's another level of grief, when you have to grieve folks who are still alive, but you have to cut contact with, and because you've grown beyond that, done that a lot. I went through a really big process of grieving in my marriage, and that was the first time I really, was, hang on, was conscious of grieving someone while they were alive, because I knew shit wasn't gonna work out, and we hadn't gotten to that point of, and so I was still grieving while we were still together. It was a very intense thing. But I just want to get on here because I think that when people in society do talk about the stages of grieving to comfort people who have lost loved ones, even though now we know that's not what was intended with these stages, which is fascinating to me. What was I gonna say? Shit. Fuck. Sorry, hang on, give me 1 sec. Oh, they're not linear. That's all. So as you decolonize and as you do shadow work, I remember when I first found out that the founding fathers were slave masters, immense denial and anger. And then the bargaining happened. And then I went through depression because I was like, what else don't I know? What else was I lied to about? And then eventually you get to a place of acceptance where you're just like, oh, everything was a fucking lie. Cool. Let's just pull back these layers and discover the truth. I have to go deliver this pancake. I'll be right. Well, you can come with me because I don't want it to fuck up painting. Hey, baby. Anyway. Okay. So, I think it's really important because as you do shadow work, as you start to really look within and understand your own triggers, understand your own patterns of behavior, understand what hurts you, why you keep repeating cycles. Usually there's a person that harmed you, and getting to that place of acceptance is like really prime human. Yes, they may have harmed you, but someone probably harmed them too. Misery loves company, you know. Hurt people hurt people. All of the token slogans, that's the word, slogans, really fit there. So I just wanted to talk about it. Remember that Google's free. Anytime you have a question, you can go to Google, but Google is biased. Remember that. But just remember that while you're doing decolonizing and shadow work, the stages of grief are very present because you are grieving not only yourself in these varying spaces, you're grieving the people who taught you those things, you're grieving ideologies, you're grieving years that you used those ideologies for. Hello, why am I frozen? You're grieving those years of your life. You're literally grieving your own life because of the lies that you were told and the foundation in which you lived your life and moved, relationships, all of it. So I just wanted you to know, I think it's really important to acknowledge that, first of all, the stages of grief are present. Second of all, they're not linear. I've been doing this work for like over 15 years, and you can still have spouts of these stages of grief. They can just happen. So when you know what it is, you know how to deal with it. You know how to pivot. You know how to... I don't know why he's so frustrated. I don't think he's feeling very good. So I'm going to end it here. But I hope that you're doing well. If you ever want someone to walk with you or witness you or support you in any way, hit me up. Sessions are available. You can Google, or not Google me, you can Gmail me, you can email me at Ascending With That. I'm so distracted as a mom right now. He knows I'm talking to you. So, okay. Have a good one.